Every ending feels like death because it is one. Not the death of life, but the death of identity. The moment you let go of someone, something, or some version of yourself, the ego mourns as if the entire world has vanished. This is why detachment is so misunderstood. People imagine it means apathy, but detachment is not the absence of love. It is the presence of truth. When the soul demands change, the ego resists. It clings to the familiar, even when the familiar hurts. It calls it loyalty, commitment, hope. But, in truth, it is fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of emptiness, fear of the self that will be revealed once the illusion dissolves. To let go is to admit that something has finished its purpose. It is to honor the natural law that everything born must one day die, not as tragedy, but as transformation. The psyche lives by rhythm. It expands, contracts, grows, sheds. Yet the conscious mind believes in permanence. It wants to freeze life into forms that never change. This resistance creates suffering. What you refuse to release will decay within you. You will carry it like a relic of a former self, heavy, sacred, lifeless. The energy that could move forward remains trapped in nostalgia, regret, or attachment. Letting go is not cruelty. It is alignment with reality. In my work, I have seen that people do not fear loss itself. They fear who they will be after the loss. They have built identity upon roles, relationships, beliefs. To let go feels like annihilation because it dissolves what the ego calls me. But the self, the deeper center of the psyche, knows better. It knows that nothing real can be lost. Only forms change. Essence remains. You do not let go to forget. You let go to remember who you are beneath what you clung to. Many come to me saying, I cannot move on. But what they cannot move from is not the person or the past. It is the image of themselves that was attached to it. When that image dissolves, grief arises. And grief is the most honest emotion the psyche can feel. It is love learning to flow without possession. Do not rush grief. It is sacred. It burns away illusion until only truth remains. The modern mind believes healing means feeling better, but true healing often begins when everything comfortable dies. Because healing is not improvement, it is release. When something within you no longer serves growth, the unconscious will begin to dismantle it. You may experience this as chaos, emptiness, confusion. But these are signs of reorganization. The psyche must empty before it can be filled with something new. Most people mistake this emptiness for failure. They run to fill it with noise, with relationships, with work. But what they call emptiness is actually space. And space is the womb of transformation. Letting go is an initiation into truth. It demands that you trust what cannot yet be seen. The ego asks, what will replace what I lose? The soul answers, nothing. You will replace yourself. Every attachment carries a purpose until its lesson is complete. When that lesson is integrated, clinging to the form becomes bondage. This is why life removes what the soul has outgrown, not to punish, but to free. The tragedy is not loss. The tragedy is refusal to evolve. When you hold on to what has ended, you create stagnation. The psyche begins to rot around the memory of what was. Freedom is not found in holding tightly. It is found in trusting that what must leave will leave, and what must remain will remain without force. When the soul withdraws energy from an old form, you feel it as fatigue, disinterest, or emotional distance. You try to revive what once brought joy, but the joy is gone. That is the psyche's way of saying, it is time, but the ego, terrified of uncertainty, tries harder. It replays the past, repairs what is already complete, bargains with fate. In these moments, surrender is wisdom. Not passive surrender, but conscious yielding. To say, I release what no longer mirrors truth. There is beauty in this. The butterfly must leave the cocoon that once protected it. The seed must die to become a tree. Every transformation requires loss of form. You cannot awaken while staying who you were. The more you resist letting go, the more life will push. Circumstances will crumble. Relationships will strain. Inner peace will vanish. Not because the world is cruel, but because your soul is ready for expansion. The pain of letting go is the pain of stretching beyond the known. When I look at human suffering, I see that most of it arises not from pain itself, but from refusal to release. People suffer not because something ended, but because they cannot stop clinging to what was. They confuse attachment with love, repetition with safety, but love that cannot let go is possession, not love. True love is spacious. It allows change. It allows death and rebirth. It does not demand permanence to feel secure. You cannot truly love while afraid of loss. You can attach. Attachment says, you are mine. Love says, you are free. Letting go reveals what love truly is, a recognition of connection that transcends form. When you release someone or something consciously, you do not sever connection, you purify it. It transforms from possession to presence. Many ask, how do I know what to let go of? The answer is simple. What no longer grows you. Anything that diminishes your energy, repeats old wounds, or demands self-betrayal is ready to be released. Letting go is not coldness. It is courage. It is faith in the deeper intelligence of life. I have seen that when one finally surrenders to this process, peace emerges quietly, not immediately, but inevitably. Peace arrives when the inner conflict ends, when the ego stops insisting that life must remain as it was. You will lose many things: people, dreams, versions of yourself. Each loss is initiation. Each departure makes room for the next chapter of consciousness. What remains after all the letting go is not emptiness, but essence. What remains is truth. The self does not cling. It allows. It watches the tides of life rise and fall without needing to command them. To live from this state is to live free from fear of death, because you have already learned to die to everything false. The more you practice release, the more you realize that nothing real can ever be lost. The body ages, the roles fade, but the essence, awareness, love, presence, remains untouched. You are not what you hold. You are what holds. Letting go is the highest form of faith. Faith not in doctrine, but in the intelligence of the soul's design. Faith that what leaves is clearing space for what is true. One day you will look back and see that every loss was a refinement, that each letting go revealed a deeper layer of you, that nothing you released was ever meant to stay, and on that day you will understand. The soul never takes, it only trades illusion for truth.